Well, hi there, and welcome to Personal Bankruptcy Canada. I'm Wayne Kelly, and this is a show where we talk about financial issues that are affecting Canadians. And today, joining me, I've got Jamie Johnson, who's a trustee in bankruptcy at Allen Marshall and Associates in New Brunswick. He's a member trustee of Personal Bankruptcy Canada as well. Thanks very much for being here, Jamie.
Thank you.
So the big topic that we're going to be discussing today is, a lot of times bad things can happen to good people, even when it comes down to debt. They're doing everything right, but something's happened and it's thrown them off track, and they're just not able to make those expenses anymore. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
You probably see this happen many times before. So at what point do you start to seek professional help?
Well, there's a number of different triggers, but I think some of the common ones is, when you're starting to fall behind with your debt payments. If you can only struggle just to make the minimum payments, and you see in your credit card statements, it'll project how long that'll take you to pay the debt off. And if you're faced with something crazy like 40 or 50, 60 years, then obviously that should be a sign. Some of the other signs, if divorce or separation is looming. A lot of couples have their debts are commingled in both names, so that can present a lot of problems. Sudden layoff, drop in income. If you're self-employed and you're starting to fall behind in your payroll, HST remittances to Revenue Canada, if you were to look at all your assets, and if you sold them all tomorrow, and if you couldn't raise enough money to pay all your debts, then you've got more debt than assets, so that's obviously a warning sign. If creditors are calling, you're getting threats of legal action, sheriff showing up, all those are triggers when you should seek professional help.
Do you find that people will contact you before creditors start calling and the guys come after you for the money? Do most people act before that or after that?
I don't know. It's probably a 50-50 split. Some people are proactive. They see that they just don't see a way out, so they need some advice. And others, I think they've known for a while there is no way out, but maybe it's that nasty phone call that prompts them to seek the advice. So it's kind of a 50-50 split.
So can a trustee help me to fix this problem on my own?
We try. I mean, every situation is different. If it's something simple, maybe just budgeting, help with budgeting, we can certainly do that. Some people, perhaps you can refinance. Maybe maybe you've got some equity in the house that you can use to tackle credit cards. So we look at all those avenues first, explore those, and but if the situation is a little far too gone, then we may have to look at some more formalized methods.
All right, so first off, I think it's really important for people to know that trustee is somebody that they can turn to for help, and I think it's really reassuring for many Canadians when they meet with you and you say, well, this isn't the worst I've ever seen. They kind of feel a little better, right? A lot of people feel like the situation they're in may be the worst, they're embarrassed, and they don't feel good about it, obviously.
Yes, that is a common reaction. A lot of people are, I get a questioned all the time, this must have been the worst that you've seen, and no, very often it isn't. We've seen all kinds, so but it's best that you seek advice as early as possible before you get too overwhelmed.
Let's talk about some of the professional help that can be given. What are some of the things that you can provide?
Well, as a trustee in bankruptcy, we're basically the only licensed professional out there that are qualified to advise on all aspects of options to deal with debt. When simple budgeting and maybe selling some surplus assets doesn't work, or refinancing isn't an option, then we might explore consumer proposals, or in some cases bankruptcy. Basically a consumer proposal, you're making a formalized arrangement with your creditors to try and pay a portion of what you owe. Perhaps you can't pay, if you have $30,000 in credit card debt, maybe you can't pay the $30,000, but you can pay a portion of it. So we try to structure an arrangement that you get a legally binding agreement in place to pay a portion of it over time, and be able to move on with the rest of your life. If you don't really have much to work with, then maybe we're looking at bankruptcy. Bankruptcy, for the most part, will get rid of all, credit card line of credit debt, even tax debts. There's other debts as well, You know, a lot of people think that, you know, bankruptcy, it's a bad word, that, you know, you go bankrupt, you lose your house, you lose your car, you lose everything, and that's clearly not the case. There are many situations where people get to keep cars, houses, and all those sorts of things.
Now, I think that is important that they make the phone call, you know, as early as possible. Can you give me some advice on how to go about choosing the right professional for you?
Well, I think the key is that you really need to, if you're facing debt problems, you need to look for a trustee in bankruptcy, and don't get taken off by the word bankruptcy. It is a bad word, but there are other aspects that we can deal in besides bankruptcy. But one of the things that you've got to watch out for is there are a lot of firms popping up every day across Canada that they basically say that they can structure arrangements with their creditors, debt management firms, that they can negotiate settlements 30 cents or less than a dollar. And you know, the problem with a lot of those firms is they can't really put their money where their mouth is. A lot of the times people get making payments to these firms only to find out that you know, the creditors are still calling, they're still threatening legal action, and they've got nowheres. But maybe over the last 6 or 12 months, they've paid a bunch of money for nothing, and you really want to avoid something like that happening.
Great advice. Anything that you would like to leave us with? Any final words of wisdom regarding the debt help and the problems people have?
Basically, you know, if at any time you just don't know where you stand, that's the time to pick up the phone and call. You know, most trustees will offer you a free consultation, and perhaps it's a quick and easy fix before things get too far gone. But it's best to at least call and get the information. It's free, and then you're better armed to know how you move on and to tackle it.
Terrific, great advice, Jimmy. Thank you very much for being here on the show today.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. And of course, if people want more information, they want to find out how personal bankruptcy can help you. Personal Bankruptcy Canada can help you. Just go to personalbankruptcycanada.ca. You can also go to wecanhelp.ca/professional debt help.